Chapter 13, we have the appearance of two beasts, which are the product of the dragon in chapter 12, his creation and servant. And the dragon gave him his power and his seat and great authority. Verse 3. This first beast is a wild animal which arises out of the sea. It looks like a leopard, but its feet are like bear's feet, and its mouth like a lion's. Its 7 heads and 10 horns make us think of the dragon himself in chapter 12, verse 3 in the book of Revelation, where he was pictured with 7 heads and 10 horns. The heads of the beast are full of blasphemy, and one of the heads has a scar from a wound now healed. After the beast has risen from the sea, the whole world worships this beast, while it spews out blasphemies against God and makes war with the saints and overcomes them. This is the same beast that Revelation chapter 17 verse 3 refers to, where it is described as scarlet in color, ridden by a great whore. If you study the vision in Revelation chapter 13 in connection with Daniel 7, you will see that the vision of Revelation 13 is based on that of Daniel 7, and that the beast of Revelation 13 is the beast of Daniel 7. John's beast from the sea is a combination of the leopard, bear, lion, and indescribable fourth beast of Daniel 7, whose 10 horns give rise to one horn that speaks great boastful things and makes war with the saints and prevails. What does this beast from the sea represent? Antichrist. But Antichrist is a world government, a political power, the likes of which this world has never seen. The origin of this beast is the sea, which represent the restless nations and peoples of the earth. Isaiah 57:20 teaches, the wicked and like the troubled sea, when it cannot rest, whose water cast up mire and dirt. If more is needed, Revelation 17 tells us that the waters which thou sawest, where the whore seated, are peoples and multitudes and nations. Little doubt is left when we see that the beast has horns and crowns. In the scripture, horns are symbolic of power and crowns of ruling authority. Besides, Revelation 13:2 says that the beast has power and a throne and great authority, and verse 7 says that he has power over all kindreds and tongues and nations. If any question remains, Daniel 7 says that the 4 beasts are 4 kings, and Revelation 17 says the beast from the earth is a king. The centuries of division and separations on this earth will end in a one world government. The Antichrist is a political reality, a new world order, a global unity. We emphasize the point in the preceding paragraph because there is often the impression that Antichrist will simply be a religious figure. Scripture makes clear, however, that Antichrist will be a political power. This political power will be a worldwide power. The beast has 10 horns and 10 crowns, representing fullness of power and authority over the nations of the world. Verse 3 says that all the world wondered after the beast. Verse 7 says that he has power over all kindreds and tongues and nations. And verse 8 says that all that dwell on the earth shall worship him. All, of course, except those whose names have been written in the Lamb's book of life. But it is one worldwide power that is the goal of an embodiment of all previous world powers. This is brought out in Revelation 13 in 2 ways. Follow along carefully as we look at this important point. First, the beast of Revelation 17 has the characteristic of a leopard, a bear, and a lion. So that even though it is the final development of Daniel 7's fourth beast, it somehow embodies the other three as well. The four beasts of Daniel 7 almost all agree represent four great world kingdoms. Babylon, headed by Nebuchadnezzar, the Medes and Persians, led by Cyrus, Greece and Macedonia under Alexander the Great, and finally, Rome. The beast of Revelation 13 is the final development of the old Roman kingdom, which indicates that Antichrist will come out of the Christian West and not the pagan East. But it takes into itself also the other great kingdoms. Secondly, the Antichrist is a worldwide kingdom. It's also the meaning of the seven heads of the beast described in Revelation 17. The seven heads of the beast are seven kingdoms. 5 of them had already fallen. 1 of them was still standing. At the same time, John wrote this prophecy about AD 95 and 1 yet to come. Rome was the kingdom in existence, and the 1 yet to come is the anti-Christian kingdom. The 5 which have already passed out of existence were the Greek kingdom, the Medo-Persian, the Babylonian, the Assyrian, and the kingdom of Babel, headed by Nimrod. We see therefore one beast with 7 heads, and now the Spirit teaches us that the great kingdom of Antichrist, as the embodiment of this former kingdom, succeeds where the other kingdoms ultimately failed, achieving its goal of world dominance. Nations cease their warring, the planet is united, the world is one, and the world belongs to Antichrist. This healing of the wound in Revelation 13 points to the success of Antichrist. We must not fail to see the significance of the healing of the wound. One of the heads of this beast had a deadly wound that was healed. The explanation of this is that in the time of Nimrod, at the Tower of Babel, there was an attempt to unite all men into one great world power. God frustrated this attempt by dividing the men and women into different races with different colors and languages, so that they were forced to separate. Races have remained separate ever since. All their efforts to be united have been frustrated up to this point. At the end, Antichrist will succeed. This, we believe, is what 2 Thessalonians chapter 2 speaks of when it says, He who now letteth will let, until he be taken out of the way. That is, he that restraineth will restrain. There is something or someone that hinders, impedes the Antichrist from coming. But in the end, that hindrance will be taken out of the way, so that the Antichrist can succeed in uniting all the kingdoms and nations of the world into one.